So this next video is going to be a twofold for our actual course. If you're using our course right now, it's probably going to show up right after the 8 plugins that I think that are the top plugins for every new website to install. But also it's going to double for showing you how to make a contact page. I think that since we're using the exact same plugin, might as well just double it in both regards, right? So if you want to, pretty much what I did is I installed these 8 plugins, and these were the 8 plugins that I found to be very beneficial. And I had a video previously that talked about each one of these, and we ran out of time, so I went with in some of the ones that were more detailed. I made individuals for them, and the one that we're going to be talking about this time is Ninja Forms, right? And Ninja Forms is, you can think of it like a contact form, but it can do so much more than that, right? For example, if somebody wanted to add a guest post, or somebody wanted to, simply just contact you, or you wanted to have a survey or things like that, the Ninja Forms could allow you to do that. And like I mentioned before, we don't use Ninja Forms on our website. We use a plugin called Gravity Forms. This is on our main website, and we just do that because it has a little bit more added functionality. But Gravity Forms is a paid plugin. It costs around $39, whereas Ninja Forms, at least the free version that we're using right now, is 100% free, as are all these other plugins. So that's why we're using Ninja Forms. And so I'm going to show you very briefly how to make, and we'll just make a contact page because that's the simplest, and it's going to be the easiest for us to show you how to do it. And then we're going to just double it as making a contact form, right? And I've already made one before, but I'll show you how to make pretty much the exact same one right now. So what we're going to do is, in our dashboard of WordPress, we're going to see the forms on the left side. And what we're going to do is click on Add New. We can just click on all forms or Add New right there, Add New Form. And so what we're doing right now, you can imagine, what do you need to make? You need to make a contact form. So what we're going to do is we're just going to title it Contact Form, Contact Form. And the from email address, it's going to be who do we want when we actually receive the email, who should it be from in our email, right? And so you kind of just want, this is just for yourself, what type of description do you want, right? Because ultimately these emails are going to be sent to you because it's a contact form, so your users are going to be asking you questions, right? And so there's some other options right here. For example, when you receive a new email, what is the email that it's sending to, and you just click Add New. So as you can see, I'm just saying it's from myself to myself, because it really doesn't matter, right? This is for your own self. This is what you're going to be receiving in your email, specifically in your Gmail or in my Gmail account. And you can just call it New Contact Form Submission, and say the website if you have multiple websites. So what we're going to do here is, well, we can add this in later. All we're going to do is, you can leave this blank and just click Include a List of Fields, right? So it'll have a list of all the fields that we have entered in. We could add a CSV if we wanted. It's not necessary. The user email settings. So if you wanted to send the same email to the user, you could do that as well, right? So if you wanted to, for example, give them a copy or a receipt of what they just sent you, kind of just as a confirmation email, you could do that as well, right? And you just include a list of fields, or just say we'll get back to you shortly, and say thank you for contacting us, and something like that, right? So I'm not going to actually go into detail of what you can do, because you could have it say whatever you want. Right, so we're just going to save form settings, and now what we're going to do is we're going to actually add the fields, right? So the fields would be things like your name, your email, the actual content to it, whatever you really wanted them to say, right? And so there's a couple of different fields, right? As you can see, this is the free version of the plugin. So I believe they have a premium version of the Ninja Forms plugin, but as you can see, and the premium version has more options, but as you can see, it already has quite a few options, right? Quite a few options, whatever you wanted them to say. For example, in our contact form, what will we probably put, right? Probably we would put the first name. So we just click on it, and then the first name shows up, and there's a bunch of different options. Probably the only one that's useful is, let's see, yeah, the required one. This is what I was looking for. So required, that's probably the only one that's useful if you want it to be required. If they don't need to put their first name or their last name, and it's just optional, you can just leave that blank. For me, I think that it's good to have the names, everything on the contact form to be required, simply because you want to be able to address the individual that you're talking to rather than just say hi and just start answering, right? And then for the email field, is this an email address? Well, it already knows because we're choosing the email. Required, yes, because obviously we need to be able to contact them back, right? Or there would be nothing for them to send. And so here now is a number of things that you can do. There's what you would probably want to put is some type of text box or text area. And so you're just going to add a text area because ultimately they want to be able to contact you. In my opinion, all you need is first name, last name, email. Even the last name is not even important, and then just some type of text. So enter, comment, or question here. And you would obviously need this one to be required as well. And you can add a bunch of different options. There's definitely more options that you can have. For example, anti-spam would be a nice thing to have. I believe a honeypot is also anti-spam. If you wanted them to be able to rate you, then you could have star rating, things like that. There's a lot of different options that you could do. You can kind of let your creativity go with it. On this one, you can kind of see what you wanted to actually create. And you can kind of imagine what type of things you could do with each of these posts. If you wanted to accept new reviews, if you ran a review site, right? Ninja Forms would be very useful for the star rating and having a comment below, right? So you can imagine, and if it has calculations, that means it can also, I believe the free version can calculate payments for you. For sure, Gravity Forms can do that. We actually use it to accept payments, so it will automatically integrate with PayPal. And that's kind of why we use Gravity Forms. But I'm not really talking about Gravity Forms in this one, so we won't talk about it too much. So all we're going to do is save field settings. And you can preview what the actual thing's going to look like right there. What we're going to do is just make a new page. So we made this new page called the contact page. And so all we're going to do here, we already published it previously. All we're going to do is we're going to, and sorry for it being so slow, I'm not too sure why, I think it's my internet at the time. And we're just going to scroll down to append a Ninja form. And see, this is one issue that I probably shouldn't have done, is that I titled them the same thing. I already had a contact form and I titled it contact form. So definitely don't title things the same thing, although I can't imagine why you would. This was just for example. And so we're just going to update it. I'm assuming that it kind of goes chronologically in that sense. And so we're just going to update it. And what we should see, if all has went well, is when we click the view page, or we can also click preview changes right here, right? It would do exactly the same. And I believe preview pages, you don't actually have to click update before you can actually preview the changes that you have made to the page. But you'll see something like this, right? Contact page, fields marked with the star are required. You have your name, email, and a message. And this is the, I guess, their version of the anti-spam. And I believe since it's not asking for a first or last name, this wasn't the actual one. This was probably the previous one that I made, but you can imagine it's going to be exactly the same. And to the contact page, you can even add some more text. So you can say, this is a sample text that you could add, and it could be as long as you wanted it to be, right? It could be whatever you really wanted to add. It could be having a whole additional, what I actually did on another website is, because I was getting a lot of the same comments, a lot of the same questions for the website, I had on the sidebar a frequently asked section portion, or before the contact page I actually had a frequently asked questions section. So it allowed them to just be able to look at the, kind of think about what they were asking before. Maybe it was already answered, then they didn't have to ask the same question. I didn't have to keep repeating the same question. And so that's where it goes right there. This was just the title of our page, right? So you could easily add this up to the menu up here, and I believe this far into our videos, we've already showed you how to add customized menus. But yeah, you just would simply go into appearance and menus and add your contact page, or in the footer, wherever you would want to put it, right? And so yeah, this is kind of how this Ninja Forms work, and I think that is a very useful and easy to use plugin. There's many other ones. I believe the other one that I used to use was called, I think, Contact Form